Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. Thank you for joining me tonight here on Facebook Live. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, and today we are going to be continuing the improv pieced back of my Charming Chevrons quilt. So thanks again for being here. I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's the time where we can relax and craft and work on a project together. We have been working on the Charming Chevrons quilt here by Krista Watson of Krista Quilts. I do have a link to the pattern. It is a fantastic pattern. I have a link to that in the Facebook post here. We have the entire top all done. I have it all pieced together here. I did a whole twin size. So now we're working on the back of the quilt so we can finally piece it together or sandwich our quilt together and get it quilted. So instead of just doing one piece of fabric for the back, I am using up all my scraps. I have a whole thing of scraps left over from doing the front. I want to use up all those scraps in the back of the quilt. And we've already done a few things. Like I made on Thursday, I think we made this kind of wonky chevron here, this pieced chevron. This is all from scraps. And I'm just going to keep going with that chevron theme. We'll see what we have in the scrap bin here, and we'll just keep making weird chevrons until we're out of scraps. And then I'll lay it all out into a background, and we'll fill it all in with our the rest of the background fabric, that red background fabric. So all in all, it'll be red like this. And we will get just random chevrons in there, and I think that'll be fun. And thanks so much, guys. I know a lot of you guys came into my Sulky webinar today, and I appreciate it a ton. It was just so nice having you guys in there. I think the replay is probably up now, and I'll try and get an email out tomorrow or before the end of the week with a link if you missed it today, if you missed the live webinar on Sulky's website today. Then I will, I'll have a link to the replay and all that for you guys coming up here. So thanks again for joining me. We did, I showed you guys how to make this little guy here, and we just went through all the steps, just kind of like a PowerPoint presentation, but there's a bunch of freebies and some other fun things. You get to download the instructions and everything for that. But thanks, I'm so happy you guys were there. I appreciate it a ton. So now we're back to normal, back to our normal live streams in the evening. So I feel good about that too. So thanks again, and I'm gonna flip you guys around. Let's dig through our little scrap bin thing here. Okay. Oh, you like the kitty pattern? Oh yes, so you guys gotta see one of our new kits that will be at Joann's and on our website. That is the kitty with the little name on the inside. That will be one of our new kits coming out. Oh, yep, so that will have a bunch of kitty patterns in there, and man, there's always room for more kitty patterns, right? Yes, and it's my mom's birthday, so I got to talk to her a bunch today too, which was really nice. And yeah, that was fun. The host of the webinar, Michelle, said that my mom got over 100 birthday wishes in the chat box. So thanks for everyone who wished my mom happy birthday. That was super nice. They thought that was really, really neat, my mom and dad. So I appreciate it. That's fun. All right, so I thought today we could address this this chevron that I messed up. So when we were working on the front of the quilt, I accidentally sewed. I'm supposed to sew one of my pattern pieces to one of the red pieces, our background piece, but I accidentally sewed two together here. So we got like 3 pieces, and that ain't right. So I thought we'd take the seams out of these today and we have one extra piece here, so that's enough to make another chevron. So I thought we'd make this little chevron, and then we can start piecing together some of this big stuff again. We got a random little, we pieced this guy together, maybe we'll make him into a chevron, and then we got a lot of long strips again, and these long strips, that's how we improv pieced this, and I think we might just do the same thing because I think this is kind of cool, and we might just keep adding to it a little bit. I don't know. We'll just play with the chevrons and decide what to do with it once we have a bunch together, and we'll start laying out the back. This is very unstructured, the back of this quilt, and that's kind of what's fun for me with it. No plan, and we're just sewing fabric together. We have all this fabric here. You know, this looks like nothing, but this is actually quite a bit. This is gonna make, you know, who knows how much, how many chevrons. So, all right, let's start out with our pieces here, though, the ones that I messed up. So, seam ripper is coming out. Oh, the chat box was at the bottom. Oh, I'm not sure if, maybe you guys couldn't see all the chat box. It was where you could ask questions. So I guess maybe I should just call it the question box. So I don't think, maybe you guys couldn't see everyone else's comments, but in the question box, they said that they got 100 or so happy birthday wishes for my mom. And that's nice. All right. Man, I feel like I was talking about this the other day, but I feel like I forgot how to use a seam ripper. So I'm just kind of getting it started. There we go. And now I flip it around and put the ball side down. And then I should just be able to run this straight up it. But I kind of cut a hole in it last time. I don't want to do that. We'll just keep kind of easing it. But in theory, I should just be able to go zoop. It's been a while. There we go. That feels right. That's how it's supposed to go. There. That's when you flip the little ball side down. So I think that's exactly what my plan is, Amy. Just a whole just weird chevrons all over. Like some might be those giant ones. We did that one that was like 3 chevrons out of all the recycled, well, not recycled, but here we go. We did this too. So this was out of all the scraps, you know, all the little itty bitty bits. Remember when we did that? So we have this kind of chevron thing going, 3-part chevron. And, you know, so we'll have that. And then we have this big chevron. You know, that's a bunch of the pieces together. And then we'll have like, you know, this little chevron here that we're doing, maybe some other big ones, and they'll be kind of all random. And I think it's going to work. It's going to be kind of more artsy. I don't think it'll still feel structured. Like when I finish it, each chevron will definitely have its place on the back. Like I don't think it'll look messy. I think it'll be okay. I have confidence that it'll be okay. We'll see. We'll see, because right now it's pretty random. But what's keeping me going is I love the idea of using up all the fabric in the quilt still. So these are all my scraps from the quilt from the front, and I like that this fabric won't be anywhere else except for this quilt. There's something, I don't know, kind of fun about that to me. All right, we should be separated now. So, all right, let's turn these back into chevrons. If you guys are just coming in, this is that chevron from the front that I messed up because I sewed, remember I sewed 2 pieces of red against the one fabric there, so I had 3 random pieces sewn together, and that is not what we were supposed to do. And then I had this 1 extra square, so that's 4 pieces, which is enough for 1 chevron. Just getting all these fuzzles out of the way. So, all right, let's pair up red pieces with the other piece. Waste not, want one. Want not. Exactly, Valerie. I just love it. I love that there's like no scrap left behind, right? So we got all these. We got all these yet, and I will cut. I have a whole bolt of this red fabric, so I'll cut this as needed. So we cut this to make that last chevron, the big chevron, and because we're going to be using that to fill the whole rest of the back as well. So I'm going to use it as needed. So we will cut new fabric, but it'll just be that red. Okay, so let's start out. Let's match these up. And really, I can kind of see the holes where I already went. You know what? I am going to just use that as a guide. Usually, I will draw a line. You know what? Let's just do it the right way. I'm going to draw a line down one of these diagonals. I have this white pencil out here again, this white chalk pencil that kind of shows up really well on this red. But you can just use a normal pencil as well. Just a line down the diagonal there, and then we're going to sew on either side. A 1/4 inch on one side and a 1/4 inch on the other. Oh, Carla, so Pat Sloan put out more details about the Splendid Sampler sequel. Okay, I will have to check that out. I am considering doing the second Splendid Sampler. So if you guys didn't hear, they are doing a new Splendid Sampler quilt. So that was that quilt that we did, oh gosh, was it like 2 years ago? Oh my God, it was like 2 years ago, wasn't it? It was that quilt where it was 100 blocks and they were all different. So 100 6-inch blocks, all different styles. So paper piecing, foundation paper piecing, English paper piecing, just normal piecing triangles and squares together, embroidery, applique, everything having to do with like Dresden blocks, everything that had to do with quilting techniques was in it, which was kind of awesome, which made it like a huge learning quilt. So, you know, you might be really good at embroidery, but not so good at applique. You know what I mean? So you got a chance to work with that other medium. And for me, or that other technique, and for me, it was a huge course in learning, just improving on techniques. All right, so I'm going to sew on either side of this. And I recorded all of them on video. And I think, we have a lot of light there. I'm going to try and just block it. I think if I would do it now, I would be a lot better at it. I still want to do the granny square quilt, Joe, as well. So I might not do the Splendid Sampler quite in the same way. I have to kind of figure that out because we were spending a ton of time on that and we weren't really able to do anything else at the same time. I would love to be able to do the blocks, but then still be able to work on the other projects. Like we have the granny square quilt on our docket, and I want to do some embroidery stuff and some smaller projects, like the sketchbook cover that we've been talking about. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can still do the next Splendid Sampler quilt, and for us to still do our older projects that we have on that we wanted to do too. So I might do it a little different, like maybe it's not every night. Gretchen, I have not looked at that link yet, so I'll have to find out more about the Splendid Sampler too as well. And I don't even know if I'll be allowed to film it. I'm hoping they will let me film it again, but you know, I have to ask yet. Oh, she has a block. Nancy Seaman has a block in the Splendid Sampler too. Oh, wow, that's cool. But yeah, so I'd love to work on it again, but I'll have to ask permission. So I don't know, maybe we will do maybe we'll do a block from there, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll do a little bit more video during the day. So maybe we just won't have it every night here. We'll do other projects during the evening, but maybe a couple days a week, maybe I'll jump in and work on a block a little bit. So I would, you know, the whole point of why I like, you know, these videos is that we show the whole process from beginning to end. So I would like to keep that aspect of it if I do it again. So maybe I might just have to sneak in some hours during the day to work on it. If I do it, then you would do it again, Jenna. That's cool. Yeah, the nice thing is if you haven't started the first one yet, you could kind of pick and choose whatever blocks you want to do. So yeah, I mean, if I do it, I do want to record the whole process again, but I don't want it to completely take up our evenings here. I would love to stay on track for the projects that we already want to do. Also, when you do the zipper on your Craftex pouch and you cut the zipper stop, do you sew in another stop? No, you don't, Gretchen, you don't need to sew in another stop because you're sewing over it with thread, and that acts as the second stop. So you don't need to add another zipper stock. That's a great question. Nope, you just your stitching acts as the next stop. You would do it again, Diane? I'd like that about your time with us. Oh, real time and get to see. Oh, that's cool, Deborah. So I would still probably do it live. You want to do the second Splendid sampler, Bonnie? Oh, that's good to know. But yeah, so I just found out that it was happening, you know, the same time that all you guys did. So I'm trying to make it okay in my head because it was a lot of work working on that Splendid sampler and just every night. And I know we have other projects that we wanted to do as well. So I want it to be like a balance. But I do feel like I would do better at it this time just because I learned a ton on the last one. So I don't know. I'm hoping maybe the videos would be a little more helpful than my last ones. And when we started the first Splendid sampler, that was just at the beginning of live video. So live video has gotten a bit better since then as well. And you know, so I think the videos would be a little bit better too. All right, I'm gonna scoot you guys over. I got my pressing mat here again, and I'm still borrowing my friend's cordless iron. I just turned it on though, so I don't know if it's quite hot enough. But so just to run through what we did again, we sewed on either side of that diagonal, right? And then we cut right down the diagonal, and that's going to give us 2 half square triangles from the same fabric like that. And 2 half square triangles is what makes a half chevron. So we put them together, and there we go, our half chevron. And then our other one here is this fun floral, which is one of my favorites. Oh yes, so if you guys saw on Mass Drop, we've been talking a lot about Mass Drop lately. I actually just bought this iron from Mass Drop. There we go. We got a chevron. So we have to press these and open them. But the grippets, and those grippets are those little acrylic, like those acrylic rulers, but they have these little nubbins on them and the grippers for free motion quilting, so you don't have to wear those gloves. Those are up on massdrop.com again. So I'll put a link on here when we're done, and I'll throw the link up tomorrow for sure too. So if you guys missed out on the grippets last time, they're available again. So that was pretty quick. So they must have been super popular for them to put them up again. But you can also use the edge for like ruler work on free motion quilting. So I'm hoping to use those once we start the free motion quilting on this quilt. So I'm stoked about that. Where's the sign up for the Mass Drop, Judy? It's at massdrop.com, and I'll throw a link up again. Actually, if you guys are in the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, that's our fun little group where you can share your work and stuff. I love the group, and I love everyone in there. But I will throw a link up there if you guys are interested in those grippets again. That should make it a little easier. So I'm still pressing the seams open. I don't know why, really. You know, since I'm gonna have like some really thick pieces for the back here, but we'll stick with it. Stick with pressing seams open. We only have these 4 little pieces to do it for. Oh, the sign up for the Splendid Sampler. Okay, so Jody, I'm not sure how that's going to work this time. So for sure, I would sign up to the Splendid Sampler Facebook group. My guess is that's probably the main area where information is going out right now. And on there, or the splendidsampler.com, actually, you can sign up there, I'm guessing. Or find out more information about it at least. And I haven't looked yet. I'm gonna have to look tomorrow. Yes, Joe, exactly. The first Splendid Sampler was beautiful, but a lot of work. You do feel more comfortable doing all kinds of blocks now. Yeah, that's what I got out of it too. like, you know, my biggest, I think, improvement. Well, first of all, straight up, like, sewing straight lines and cutting straight. I think I've improved on those 2 things. I know it just sounds silly, those 2 things, but man, you don't know how not straight you're sewing until you have to piece little itty bitty pieces together, and your seam allowance is way off, or you know, you veer off at the end and it's like, oh, dang, I can't sew straight. So I actively try to get a little bit better at that. I think I still need to work on the seam allowance. But then, you know, as far as techniques, that needle turn applique, man, that took some learning, but I feel like I'm a lot better at that. Oh, I'm Diane. I'm loving the wool pressing mat so far. Actually, I'm curious, is it hot underneath? No, it's just barely warm underneath, which is good because, you know, I don't want it wrecking my table or anything. I guess that's the point. It's thick enough that it won't, oh my gosh, I can't flip this over. It's thick enough that it won't heat up what's underneath. I don't want to do it on my acrylic. Like ideally it would be right here. That would be awesome, just even that much closer to the sewing machine, but I don't want to press on my nice adjustable sewing table or my extension table. I don't want to accidentally ruin it by putting an iron on it. So I'm still on the table here, but I do like it better than my little clumsy sewing ironing board that I had here. That one was just super cheap. Like it would always fall off the table every night. So this is nicer. I like it. It's felt, so it's wool felt, and it's just like a really thick wool felt. So here we go. It's 100% wool, and yeah, it's just matted, felted, like it's over a ½ inch thick. So let me see. Yeah, it's a little warm on the bottom, but just barely compared to, you know, super duper hot. I'm using the cotton hot setting on here. Rosalie was helpful with her needle turn. Her explanations were like light bulb moments. Oh, that's cool. You ruined your mat from having the heat come through when ironing. Oh no, so you had your like cutting mat underneath this, and then you had this on top. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I just have my table here, so I'm hoping we're okay with that. All right, we're done with these guys. Yeah, I'm a little nervous that I'm using my I'm cutting on my extension table here with this mat, but I don't know. It's not going to be the end of the world. All right, so I'm going to trim these down. We've been trimming them to that 4.5-inch size. I mean, really, I could probably get away without trimming them, but we're gonna keep doing. We're gonna do this one chevron in the same way that I did the other ones. Ooh, let's use our rotating cutting mat too. That makes this super easy. Mine doesn't smell. I mean, no, you know, I was gonna say at most it has like maybe a wool smell, but I don't even think it has that. It doesn't really smell like anything right now. What size is the mat? I think it's 18 inches by 12 inches. It looks like 18 by 12. And I got that from Mass Drop too. I've been on a Mass Drop binge lately. I don't know. It's bad news. I keep ending up buying all this sewing stuff. They actually had batting on the other week, and if I hadn't already gotten my batting, I probably would have gotten that too. It's like they're paying attention to only the things I want and putting that on. It's scary. All right, got one done. Let's get the other one. So I'm putting my ruler has that diagonal on. I'm matching that diagonal with the diagonal seam. And then we're just trimming all the way around. And the trimming is with this rotating cutting mat is really, really helpful. I can just shimmy around. I can keep my pressure on the ruler. It's been really helpful. More than I thought it would be, this rotating cutting mat. Okay, 2 more of these, and then we can sew our half chevrons together, and then we'll go back and finish them up into a full chevron. Then I think we'll just sew pieces of fabric together, get a big chunk of fabric going, and we'll turn that into a chevron later. All we need ultimately is a big square. So I'm just sewing fabric together until it's a square. And then we're basically doing the same process, sewing 2 squares together and sewing on either side of the diagonal, then cutting it in half on the diagonal, giving us the 2 half square triangles. So that's what we did for that big one. It was just a bunch of pieced pieces instead of a pattern, one pattern. It was a whole pieced pattern. And then we match that up with the red. And so we'll just keep doing that. So we just need to start out with a big square, and then that we piece together whatever we want, and then we'll cut a piece of red fabric to match that. And we'll be on our way to an improv pieced chevron. But we'll have this one nice pretty chevron on the back somewhere hanging out. My little mistake piece, the little piece that didn't make the front. Ultimately, I'm kind of happy about that though, because this is one of my favorite fabrics that I picked for this. And I'm happy that it's going to be kind of shown off on its lonesome on the back. Makes it even more special, I think, this little flowery fabric. All right. Oh man, we're making more scraps. So all these scraps from cutting these half square triangles down for the front, all these scraps is what we use to make that back chevron piece, this piece right here. This was made out of all those little scribbly pieces, but this time I think these are going in the real garbage. I'm not going to save all the pieces. The pieces that were this small, they're in the quilt right now. That can, oh man, but now that I put it to the side, I kind of do want to put it, Gretchen, want to start a new jar. I do have a different scrap jar. Maybe I'll throw them in there. I have a hard time throwing that stuff away. All right, here are our pieces. So what we need to do is we need to decide how we want these to look. So, you know, you can do so many things with half square triangles. Look, we can make a square, we can rotate them, make the red square. You know, it's just so fun. You can make let's see, we can make like a diagonal line if we wanted. Oop. There we go. So we have a line going. It's just kind of crazy, half square triangles. But we're making chevrons, so let's turn them into a chevron. It always takes me forever to rotate them in the right direction. Does scribbling fabric hold up to washing? Jana, probably not. Well, it will hold up in washing, but it's all little raw pieces. So, you know, you're gonna lose a triangle here and there. You're gonna lose a little fuzz, but I think it will always ultimately look like this. So even though you might lose little bits here and there, I don't think you're not gonna break it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm gonna run mine through the wash, but I completely expect in the lint bin to have a couple teeny triangle pieces every once in a while. All right, I think this is going to be our chevron, so it's important at this point to know what direction your half chevrons are going, because we're going to be sewing the edges together now, and no matter what way you rotate this, it's always going to be in that same direction. So we don't want to accidentally make two going this direction, right? Because then we're not making a chevron anymore. So, man, I have trouble. There we go. Zoop. So we need to know we've got one going that way and one going this way. So I'm going to just leave them like this, and we'll flip them up and sew these edges together. Then we'll press this again, and then we'll sew down the middle, and our chevron will be done at that point. So let's shimmy down here, back to the machine. All right, hopefully I'm not too jittery for you guys. Okay. Here's our first half chevron. Let's fold that together. Match that seam up. I'm excited for the back of this quilt. I want to see what all these chevrons look like together. All right, I'm going to grab my stiletto just because I like it to help me guide my fabric up through the machine. And it also kind of acts as my pin. I like holding it at the end to keep those ends together. All right, next up. Oh, the lint bin. I dare you to repurpose that stuff. Actually, I remember when we were a kid, we did repurpose the lint bin of the washing machine. If you take the lint, this is what you do. You take an old egg carton, so like a cardboard egg carton, then you put a bunch of lint in, so you fill each slot of the egg carton with lint, and then you take old candle wax and dump that. Yes, exactly, Jenna, that's what I'm talking about. You dump old wax into each of those little lint egg pods. You tear the egg things apart, so you got singular egg things. You got a fire starter. You got a perfectly lovely fire starter. So there you go. There's a way to repurpose lint from your sewing machine, from your washer, from your dryer. Reusing everything. I haven't done that in ages, but I do have a clear memory of doing that when we were little. Just like what you're saying, Jenna. All right, let's press this guy again. All right. So now we should have our 2 half chevrons. Here's the one. I'm going to scoot you guys back just a hair. There's the iron up here. So here's the base for the cordless iron, and that I just have sitting on the edge of the table there, and it's just recharging in there. And then when I'm ready, I can take it out of there, and then it's cordless, which means I can move it around everywhere already. So there we go, our half chevron. I'm gonna press them open again. Let me angle you guys down a bit so you're not totally covered up. All right, here we go. It looks like I drew a pencil line going the other direction on there, but at least it's on the back. So if you guys missed the Sulky webinar today, you can rewatch it, and if you rewatch it, you'll have access to all the freebies, all the downloads and everything still. So you can still sign up for it and watch it, and it doesn't go away, so you can watch it indefinitely. Oh man, you bought tomatoes already? It snowed again today here, so I want to buy tomatoes. That ain't happening yet for a while. Boo. All right, here's our first half chevron. I kind of put a kink in there with the iron, but oh well. After we wash it once, that'll go away. I just love this fabric with little flowers on it. So cute. Man, if they have the grippets up on Mass Drop again, I wonder what else they have up there. Oh, that's becoming like a daily check. Diane, I will for sure post the Sulky video. Well, I do actually, I have a link to it. So if you click the link in this Facebook post, that will get you to the sign up. You still need to actually sign up. Like you still need to put your name in and everything to watch the video because it's more than a video. It's like a whole kind of system where they show the video, but then you can click on tabs and this whole thing. So you do have to still actually sign up. So the link is in the post here, and by signing up, then you'll get an email where you can go over to the video. So that should be up, but I will I'll send an email out about it as well. So make sure that you're on my email list. I'm hoping that goes out tomorrow, but I haven't written it yet, so I gotta write it tomorrow, and I'll put all the links in there with you. Yeah, Bonnie, we gotta wait at least another month before we can plant anything safely. Oh, I'm waiting for that. All right, next up, we just sew this seam together, and we are good to go. So I need a Wonder Clip. I like clipping that middle point together just so, ooh, we'll pick a red one, that'll match. I like holding that seam together because that's where we want our point to match as best we can. So, and we don't have sandwiched points because we've pressed it open. So I'm just gonna really match up that open seam the best I can. And then we're gonna throw a clip on there. Boop. And all right, now when we line up the edges, then we should be good to go. So I'll start sewing here, I'll sew to my clip, and then I'll line up and sew the rest of it. Are there discounts on Mass Drop? I wasn't sure. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Gretchen. To kits, I went it wasn't about the special, what the special was about, the thread. Oh, so for the Sulky webinar, well, I had a couple of those freebies, and then they had discounts on a lot of the Sulky and Craft Tech stuff. They also had a kit where, which is also discounted, where you could get all the stuff to make that kitty pouch right away, so you don't have to search like high and low for everything. So that was some of the specials that they had. All right, now I'm lining up the bottom and that right edge again. Still working on that straight line and that seam allowance. All right, and that should be that. Let's check out the, ooh, yeah, that's a pretty good point. Not, you know, 100%, but it's a solid 80% right there. How about that? I think we're good. I think we have a cute chevron going on here. So let's give this a final press, and we'll have at least one chevron done tonight, and then we have a few minutes left too, so we could just, I think we could sew some pieces together yet to help to start working on another big piece. You know, it's funny. So it took almost this entire time to do this one half chevron. It took just a little longer, but almost the same amount of time to do that giant chevron where we did all that random piecing. I would say that maybe only took like 15 minutes longer than this one. Isn't that kind of crazy? So the part that takes a while is definitely this process here, the making the half square triangles and sewing them together to half chevrons. I think we went a little bit over in time, over the hour on that big pieced, improv pieced one, but still. Oops, sorry. Bumped you guys. Oh, the discounts are only good till midnight Easter time. Oh, okay, so the discounts, you'll still, no matter what, indefinitely get my freebies. So the freebies that I have on there, those will be there forever. So you'll still get those. All right, here we are. That's a good looking chevron. Putting the iron back in the dock there. And here we are. Ooh, gosh, fuzzles everywhere. We'll have to, once we're done sewing the entire quilt together, done quilting, we'll have to defuzzle the whole thing, go around and clip all our little remaining threads and stuff. But there we go. So that is a good looking chevron. And you know what? I think we might just call it a little short tonight. So instead of digging in to make, like, you know, so next part we want to sew together more of these pieces. Oh, I suppose we could sew a little bit tonight yet. So yeah, fine, we'll sew a little bit longer tonight, but I'm not going to turn it into a chevron tonight. We're just going to see what happens when we sew bits together, and then we'll kind of chop it up a little bit tomorrow. What was different about the thread and the craft text? Oh, like to embroider with the craft text, the biggest thing is that you have to pre-poke the holes, Gretchen, just because you don't, any hole that you make with the craft text will stay there. So you don't want to make a whole bunch of extra holes. That's the biggest thing with stitching with craft text. But you don't need a hoop, which is super duper nice. So we have a whole pile more of these strips. I think I'm just going to sew them together again, and we'll see where that takes us. That's kind of how we did, where we kind of started with that last big chevron that we made, and I think let's just do the same thing. So I'm going to just start randomly sewing strips together. We'll see what happens. Maybe we won't make a bunch of like weird squares like we did last time. Maybe it'll just stay big strips. Oh, Ramona, I'm so happy you liked the webinar. Yeah, that was fun for me to get a chance to do that. I'm happy the Sulky team invited me to work on that. They're all very, very nice. All right. I'm pedal to the metaling. That's kind of fun. I'm just full on. I mean, this is the fastest that my machine goes right here. All right, let's just, instead of taking that off, let's just start another piece up here right away. Well, these are really similar, so we won't put those two together, but how about these two? Oh, you like the kitty pattern? Thanks, Joe. Yeah, so the little kitty pattern is free when you sign up for the webinar and watch the webinar. That's one of the freebies, and it's part of one of my new kits that will be in Joann's, and that kit's on the site right now. And I will be sharing my other kits with you really soon. So I have 6 new embroidery kits, and I think they're all just super duper fun. There's some new packaging with them as well. And I want to show you guys that really, really soon here. So stay tuned to your email and Facebook Lives here. All right. I think let's sew a third, and we'll see what we got going on. Then we can take the first 2 off and sew those together, and then we'll be able to, we'll just sew this other one. Ooh, we got a little disconnected there. Oh man, weird. So we got disconnected a little bit there, guys, and at the same time, this piece got a little messed up. Actually, it's full on stuck here. So, ooh, wow. We're cutting that, so my bobbin needs to come out. But yeah, I think we're acting up a little bit here now, it looks like, Deborah. So I think we might just call it an evening, especially since my bobbin just did something wacky. Oh, you know what it did? It just caught the other piece. We're almost out of bobbin. That's what's happening here. So I think we'll just start up again tomorrow, guys, and we'll start with a fresh bobbin, and I think we'll call it a night. I'm just gonna, you know what? I think I actually might use this bobbin, this thread. I'll use the rest of this thread for my binding on that hedgehog quilt. So I got another bobbin. We'll get that in and do that next time we work on there. So, all right, guys, I'm going to flip you around and we will call it an evening tonight. Hello again. So yeah, it looks like Facebook Live is kind of acting a little oddly all of a sudden. All of a sudden, all you guys just like, whew, it looked like you guys all left, and then now it looks like you're coming back in. So I don't know. And then I got disconnected for just a hair right at the end of that. So I think Facebook has had its time for the day. So we'll call it a night. we got this guy finished, and I'll have to get a new bobbin in since that one went kaput skis, and then we'll just pick up these strips where we left off and see where that takes us for making more chevrons here. So thanks again, guys. I will get a link up for the mass drop, the grippets on mass drop, and also stay tuned to your emails. I will get an email out either tomorrow or the next day with a link to watch the webinar, the playback, the replay of the webinar if you missed it today. So thanks again, and thank you all you guys who dropped into the webinar. I really appreciate it. It made me feel like at home with you guys there for sure. So have a great evening, and I will see you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central. Again, have a great night.